What's up guys, today we're going to be going over this realistic mixed media paper rip effect, and the most surprising part is that we're going to do all of this only in After Effects. So make sure to watch until the end because I'm literally going to spill so much sauce inside of this video. I am firstly going to show you how you can create animated textures from completely scratch. After that, I'm going to show you how you can incorporate them and create that kind of mixed media effect. And then on top of that, I'm going to show you how you can create these paper rips on top and really add up to that effect. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So basically we're going to turn this clip that we have right here and we're going to turn it into something like this, which is completely insane, guys. It looks super fire. So let's not waste any more time. The first step that we're going to create is basically determine from where to where we're going to have the effect. I think we're going to start here, start the effect right here. So what we're going to do is create an adjustment layer. Let's do new adjustment layer. And then we're going to cut it, Command Shift D, delete that part. And then we're gonna do it until something like that. We're gonna transition out of the effect. It's gonna make it look even better, hit harder. Real quick before we go on with this tutorial, I have to let you know about my brand new preset pack, New Wave Effects. New Wave Effects allows you to get those grungy transitions, those clean flash transitions, basically all of the effects that emulate that new wave aesthetic that you're gonna see from artists like K-Suave, Summers, Laser Dim. There are over 20 presets. They're extremely easy to use. You just have to create an adjustment layer, you slap the preset on there, and you have an insane result. If you want your edits to hit hard and stand out, that is definitely the preset pack for you. I'll leave it in the description with a special discount for watching the video and supporting the channel. Now let's get right back into the video. Let's delete that part, and then we're gonna apply the effect Posterized Time right over here. Let's drag Posterized Time onto our adjustment layer, and we're gonna make it 8 frames per second. Making it 8 frames per second is what is gonna give it that choppy look that we want, that is often seen in mixed media sequences. So now we're gonna have this. So as you can see, we already get that choppy look, but what is missing is really that texture, that mixed media feel. So now we're gonna create our texture. So I downloaded my texture from Texture Labs. I'll leave the link in the description. I chose this texture right here. I think it looked pretty nice. There's not too much going on, just that perfect paper texture. What we're gonna do with it, we're gonna create a new composition. We can make it 1920 by 1080. Let's just call this texture. Now we're gonna drag the texture in there. Now we can scale it down a little. We can make it something like that. And now we're gonna pre-compose it. So let's do right click, pre-compose. Let's call it texture making. Make sure to click move all attributes into the new composition and click on adjust composition duration, this thing. All right, so now that this is done, we can start creating that movement, that mixed media feel. So we can press P. We're gonna do alt click on the stopwatch. We're gonna type Posterized Time 8. So the thing we did earlier, basically where it's gonna move 8 frames per second. Now let's do semicolon, then we're gonna press enter. And then we're gonna type wiggle parentheses. We're gonna make it move 5 times per second. And then comma. And then this is the amount of pixels that it's gonna move every time it moves. So let's do 3000 pixels. That way we can't see the difference between the frames. We get it really that illusion going. Now we're gonna have this. As you can see, there's a problem. The borders are bleeding. It's going away. It's disappearing. So in order to fix that, we're going to go and type Reptile into the effects. I already created a preset and I recommend doing that. That way we don't have to do it every single time. But yeah, this is the effect CC Reptile. And you just want to expand all of these 6000. I did unfold, but let's do repeat and blend the borders a bit. That way now when we play it, we get this texture. Really nice. So now that we got our texture, we're going to be able to import it within our composition. So let's go back into our composition and now let's import the texture in there. We're going to put it under the posterized thing that we're going to call posterize. Might as well. Let's put it under and we're going to put it to screen. Now we're going to have this. So as you can see, we kind of get that mixed media feel. It looks pretty cool. One thing that is missing though is some grain. Usually we see grain in those kind of sequences. So let's do another adjustment layer. I have a shortcut for it. Let's make it the duration of the effect. And then let's type add grain. We're gonna make the viewing mode final output and the intensity maybe 2. In color, we're gonna make it monochromatic. So there aren't any colors, it's just black and white. And now as you can see, we get more grain. So now we get this, which looks pretty nice. Now our second step is creating those paper rips effect that go on top of the video. So in order to do that, we're going to create a new composition. We're going to call it paper rips. And then what we're going to do is create a new solid, Command Y. Let's call it alpha. And then we can make it something like that. We can adjust the scale. And now we're going to animate the scale so that it changes. So we're going to do scale. So we're going to do alt click on the stopwatch once again. We're going to make it wiggle and change, randomize it. We're going to type wiggle. We're going to type 8. And then let's make that 30. So now as you can see, it's changing its scale. However, one thing we want to do as well, we're going to do the same thing for the position. Alt click, right there. Let's do the same thing, wiggle, and then we can do 8 as well. Then let's do 800. That way it moves throughout the scene. And then we can do the same thing for rotation. Alt click, wiggle, 8, and then let's do 30. So now we're gonna have this. Let's go back into our composition. We're gonna cut this part of our original clip, Command Shift D until the end. And this part, we're just gonna copy it, Command C. Now let's go back into our paper rips composition. Let's do Command V, let's paste it on there. We're gonna put it at the beginning of the composition of this clip. We're gonna put it inside of the alpha. So basically this image, we're gonna see it in the square. There we go. So now we're gonna have this for now. So this is going to be our paper rip. We're still not getting the result that we want. That is perfectly normal. Let me cook. By the way, subscribe if you didn't yet. Let's go back into our tutorial composition. And then when we drag in this paper rips, we're going to put the beginning of it right there. Basically what is going on, we're not going to see anything because we didn't change anything of the image, right? So it is there. But what we forgot to do, let's go back into the paper rips. We're going to scale it up. That way, when we see the paper rips, we're clearly gonna see that it's different, just like that. For now, we're gonna have this, which doesn't look too bad, but we can hardly tell what's what. So in order to fix that, we're really gonna create a paper rip kind of texture to the square to make it look like it's real paper. I wanna shout out my boy Fred Pell for this because I definitely got inspired by one of his recent tutorials. You should definitely go check it out. I'll leave it on the screen. All right, so what we're gonna do is duplicate Command D, that paper rips one. We're just gonna change the color of the one below. Let's change it to fuchsia, something pink. That way we know what our layers are. So this one, I'm gonna scale it a little, just like that, maybe a bit more. There we go. And then we're gonna drag the fill effect. All right, so now as you can see, we're gonna have this when we drag in the fill layer. So now we're gonna make this the color white. And now to create that kind of paper rip texture, we're gonna drag in turbulent displace. And then we're gonna make the size pretty small, something like that. And let's make the complexity, let's increase that. That is what's gonna give us, as you can see, look at the edges, we're really getting that paper rip fill. So something like that looks good. We can increase it. Something like that looks pretty good. So now let's look at what we have. So I think what I'm gonna do is reduce the grain a bit. Maybe make the grain 1. There we go. So now as you can see, it looks cool, but the edges on this is way too rough. So in order to fix this, we're gonna take this paper rips. We're gonna go on this one, the layer above, and we're gonna type, and we're gonna get the effect roughen edges. So that's gonna do exactly that. Is gonna give it some texture. So now let's play with the settings. Let's make the borders a bit, let's increase the borders a little bit. The sharpness, we're gonna increase that as well. We can reduce the scale a bit, and we can increase the complexity also. That looks pretty good. We can also decrease a little the paper rips. I think it's 2. Yeah, something like that is perfect. Oh, that looks way better. So now as you can see, we're really getting a really fire result right now. Just like that. Super fire. If you want the paper rips to stand out even more, we can even scale it some more. And what we can also do to create some randomness, because that's what looks good, randomness and that kind of effect, can go to rotation on this one, like this in the paper rips composition. Let's do alt click, wiggle once again, then we can do 8, and then let's do 30. So we can see it right now, but it's gonna add some randomness. Let's look at what it's looking like. One thing that is bugging me just a little bit is I feel like the paper rips are not random enough. It's clearly a rectangle every single time. So we're gonna change the expression right here. I think in terms of scale, we're gonna increase the intensity. What if we did 70? Let's see. All right, so now we get a lot more randomness. Let's look at what we have. That looks super fire. Also, if you want, you can add some texturing to make it stand out even more. Me personally, you're not obligated to do so at all, but I really love Florida Grunge. That is off my new Wave Effects pack. There are some really cool textures in there if you want to check it out in the description. If I slap it on there, as you can see, you get this really cool like grainy color. I can play with the colors as well, customize it. Let's see about red. Let's see what that looks like. So now all that's left is a little transition from in to out. There are a lot of plugins and stuff like that, but we're gonna do something simple today. Let's just create a solid. The most simple way to make a transition, it's really effective, is let's just call this transition. It's creating a white solid, and then you just make it 1 frame long. As you can see, boom, it goes in there, and it's a really clean transition. Super simple too. So you make another one, you duplicate it, put it at the end as well. Now with that said, let's look at our final result. So that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and if it brought you any value, please consider subscribing, and please let me know in the comments what type of tutorials you would like me to cover next on this channel. Also, if you're looking to save time and improve your editing workflow, no matter if it's your music videos or edits, you can check out my online store, friendlyfiles.ca. We got some really fire presets, overlays, you name it. So make sure to check it out. Also, if you still feel like learning, go watch this video right there. It'll help you. Peace.